Welcome to the latest episode. Tori's back. Mara, who's a contributor but has not been on the show yet. She's here, and as always, me, Nelson.
Yep.
We're going to start off this podcast very light and fun, and it's going to get serious, and we're going to go to dark places very quickly. So, this first part might be dark because it's become a very toxic fan base. The Rick and Morty Szechuan sauce.
Yep.
That was a shit show, and I was shocked at the shit show it was. So I'll start off with my personal experience with it. I was at a party, a birthday party close to one of the McDonald's getting it. So I was like, I'm gonna go in the middle of the party, try the Szechuan sauce, come back. Maybe like a 45-minute trip, and if I gotta wait in line, maybe an hour. And so I was like, it's not gonna be too bad. So it was at the Manassas, Virginia. One in the mall, mind you.
Oh, it was in the mall?
It was the one in the mall.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part.
That one's so scary.
I haven't been to Manassas Mall in...
Manassas Mall's actually gotten nice again.
They
really?
have
Springfield
Do they actually have stores? Because last
time
I was there,
every store was filled up.
Every
store was filled up.
Yeah, they actually have now.
I get to the mall, and there's a decent line, but not that long. So it's not too long, so where it's like, okay, I should be able to get some sauce. So I get in line, and there's an employee from McDonald's going down the line. So I figure she's probably trying to separate everybody out. People who are here for the Szechuan sauce and the collectibles, and people who just want lunch. Which I feel, I feel McDonald's being at 2 o'clock. I was like, you probably should just debut that at like 10:30. Get all the Rick and Morty nuts out of there before the lunch rush. That probably would have been the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
But as McDonald's proved with this whole situation, nothing they did was smart. So I get
They're
there.
Not good at things.
And the girl's like, are you here for regular lunch or the collectibles? I was like, actually, I just want to try the sauce. She's like, we didn't get any. I was like, you didn't get any? She's like, no, we didn't get any. And I didn't argue with her at all because I was like, she's just an employee. I'm not going to like say, well, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, that sucks. And the thing for me is I had checked that morning to double check just to make sure I had the address for it. And it was still listed as one of those. And the thing about how limited the sauce was, you really only had time to go to one McDonald's if you wanted the sauce. So if the McDonald's said they didn't have it, you weren't going to go to the next nearest one and be able to get any sauce. So that was a cluster F. But at the Manassas location, it just seemed like everybody who was there for the sauce and didn't get any, they just kind of dispersed and left. Right. I saw a couple like 20-somethings, teenagers. They're like looking on their phones trying to find the next closest place. And I was thinking to them, I was like, good luck, guys.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah.
But then, of course, I think we all have heard about the toxic situations. Police having to be called.
Where exactly did that happen? Because I saw like a random video where a guy like put on the shirt and he goes onto the counter. I don't know.
Cornholio is what I'll call him because he did just have a temper tantrum.
Either San Jose or San Juan.
Okay.
Because I know there was some shit that went down in Florida too, but I don't remember what it was.
And I heard about stuff happening in New York.
Brooklyn, yeah. It was just kind of ridiculous, and it's like, those people making like a big stink about it missed the whole joke of the episode.
Oh yeah, it was a throwaway joke.
It was a throwaway joke to make fun of one of the writers who loves the Szechuan sauce.
Yeah,
like, that's the whole existence for it.
Polygon has a really good article about that.
And it was just one of those things. It was just kind of like, really, and it just drove me insane just because. It makes the fan base look bad. And, you know, we're nerds, we're gamers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we already get a bad rap with the toxicity of online gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Which also kind of ties into what we're going to talk about later, like Gamergate and the way female gamers are treated online.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, there's this, like, I'm probably going to get flack for this, but there's this level of, like, toxic nerd entitlement that comes across as, like, because a lot of nerds feel like they're the, you know, alone in the world and everything else, even though it's basically the overriding like thing at this point. Nerd culture is like huge.
It's like, you like Star Wars? You're not special. It's $1 billion movie.
Yeah, you're not an outsider anymore.
Yeah, and that's the mainstream. Yeah. You're not special. You're not a snowflake. It's like, I get it, like pre-internet days, you know, you're growing up in your small town and you're the only one who likes Star Wars. Like, I caught flack in high school for being a Star Wars fan. And
middle school, I got flack for being an X-Men fan and all that.
Yeah, or like in anime, like I freaking loved Pokemon middle school and freshman year of high school. But I had to hide that shit because I knew I was gonna get made fun of for it, so I didn't like talk about it.
True.
But that's how you find friends. Like some of my closest friends, like Nelson, our buddy Devin, our buddy Mike, Bernie. We all became friends for our love of video games because we would play.
I didn't know Nicki Minaj was
That's you joke calling her Nicki Minaj. That's Snoop Dogg's cousin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is. Snoop Dogg actually did her entrance for
WrestleMania. Yeah. And I missed it, even though I was at that WrestleMania, because Sean had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, you missed that?
I missed it.
Because that's better than her regular song.
I know. I was pissed when, like, because we get back to our section and everyone was like, oh, Snoop Dogg. I was like, motherfucker!
Did you go, damn it, Sean?
No, but I just kind of, like, made the joke in my head. It's like, because, you know, before, like, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte came up, and now Bayley and all them, like, the Divas wrestling matches were kind of like, oh, that's the bathroom break, because women's wrestling literally used to be just pretty models, just slap fighting, basically, where now it's actually, they're serious wrestlers,
It's actual wrestling, and at times it's better than the men's wrestling.
Yeah, I was just kind of, like, making the joke in my head, like, this is, like, one of the co-main events for WrestleMania in women's wrestling, and Sean's got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I gotta, you know, bitch a little bit about something here. That this is the brand spanking new one, and the freaking graphics for the hair is atrocious.
Yeah, they've never got the graphics right for the hair, but everything else is actually.
The rest of it looks pretty good.
Everything else is like a way big improvement than last year's, which is surprising to me because I didn't think it was.
Yeah, ever since they switched to the more realistic engine, because like the hair wasn't bad on the No Mercy games when it was more cartoony.
Yeah,
it flowed better. But ever since they got to the realistic, and I don't think too many games do really good hair.
Yeah,
like all I can think of right now,
hard thing to do
all I can think of right now off the top of my head, as far as realistic games that does hair well, is Final Fantasy. Tomb Raider,
yeah, Tomb Raider does a good job.
And Uncharted does a really good job with hair too. At least the last two. The first one was atrocious, but I mean, I think that one was on the PS series. So.
Yeah, which is why, like, usually you see like characters in realistic video games that've got the short hair, short cropped hair, because that's easier to do.
Or in a ponytail.
Yeah, which sucks for me because my wrestlers always have long hair even before I grew my hair out, because that's the style for wrestling, the long hair.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, God, this looks like shit, but I don't want to do the short hair.
Yeah. Josh P.S. Hayes.
Yep.
Oh, I hate that.
But, so yeah, the Rick and Morty fans, you're not special, and most of you aren't smart, like, the actual writers are smart.
Yeah. I mean, you're not Dan Harmon.
But McDonald's, you also F that up. It's like, because I said to Nelson, like, after I come back, it's like, I'm not mad, I'm just annoyed, because I took time out of my day to go do this.
Yeah, like,
and
I didn't even get this shit.
And it's like McDonald's could have made a shit ton of money, because let's face it, like, those little packets probably cost like a nickel to produce.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be, like...
And they were introducing that, a honey mustard and a buffalo to coincide with their chicken tenders.
Yeah.
So what if I'm McDonald's? What I do for that? Like, don't make it so limited. Like maybe give like 100 per store. Yeah. But for one packet, you have to buy one of those things, the chicken tenders, which Rick and Morty fans would have done.
Yeah, they really would have.
And so I think those chicken tenders were like $3. So you do 100 packets. That's $300 easy made per store. And then they're probably going to get a drink. They're probably going to get fries. Yeah. So you're probably thinking off of just Rick and Morty really customers alone, you're going to make $1,000 per store. And it was just like, I said to McDonald's, like, or I said to Nelson's, like, this is why their market share sucks. Yeah, it's because they don't, like, capitalize on this. And there was no money they had to pay to Adult Swim or Rick and Morty.
True.
Because they were trying their hardest not to skirt that line, so they didn't have to.
Yeah, like, they did a good job of that, like, making it look like a Rick and Morty kind of promotion, but not. And Rick and Morty gave them all the free advertising in the world.
Yeah, I mean, they really dropped the ball on the entire situation, but I still think that there was this level of just shitty, like, little baby tantrum things. I mean, it's, okay, yes, McDonald's messed up and didn't prepare. I don't think they had any idea that there was going to have the reaction that it did.
They should have, though.
Still no reason for people to scream at minimum wage people who are working there who have no control over it.
They have no control over it. And the ridiculousness of it, like, I checked eBay when I was driving back to the party.
Oh, yeah.
$1,000 for these packets, because my goal was to get one to try and get one to scalp, because I knew it'd be ridiculous.
Did you see that, like, on eBay, they have just, like, the wrapper for it. They're selling just the wrapper for it for, like, a couple $100.
Which also proves how stupid Rick and Morty fans really are for paying that.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, but McDonald's is bringing it back in the wintertime, which actually
seems really strange.
Gives me a conspiracy theory, because I don't know if you've heard the fan theory about a secret season finale coming out around Christmas.
Yeah, I did hear
Mr. Poopy Butt Pants said, like, maybe I'll have a butthole. Thank you.
Yeah, poopy butthole.
Have a long white beard next time you see me. So people are thinking Christmas, like even Nerdist News was reporting on that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so McDonald's saying the Szechuan sauce come back during the wintertime. Maybe if McDonald's is smart this time, co-brand with Rick and Morty.
Yeah, they need to work that out. That'd be
but I don't necessarily necessarily know if they want to attach their like brand to the Rick and Morty brand, because there's like an attempted rape scene in Rick and Morty, and there's all these like there's a lot of really messed up things that happen in Rick and Morty, and we all love it, but I don't necessarily know if.
Well, I'm not saying like Happy Meal toys.
Yeah, no,
but,
I don't.
I mean,
I would like Happy Meal toys, but I'm an adult, so
exactly.
But maybe
toy that burps.
Yeah.
And you know what, McDonald's, I give Vince McMahon free ideas all the time. I'm gonna give you a free idea. An adult Happy Meal.
What would have?
Isn't that just called a double cheeseburger?
But you have Rick and Morty.
It should be at like 11 o'clock to like 1. And...
Well, not necessarily like a special time frame, but like
that's called drunk food.
Yeah, I know exactly.
But
that's exactly what that is.
But like make it like an adult meal, like a value meal, like charge like $11 for it, and you get like a free Rick and Morty toy with it. Because Rick and Morty fans will buy that. Like, it's not a Happy Meal made for kids. I know there'll be dumb parents out there who don't figure that out.
Yeah.
But these are the same dumb parents who are buying like Doom for their 5-year-old.
True. Taking their 5-year-old into Deadpool.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, like, there's a lot of things McDonald's could do to really like capitalize on this, but they're not smart, which proved by their market share constantly shrinking.
They also have thousands of locations, and so to organize all that together would be
they're a little
exceptionally
spread thin if you really think about how many locations
especially
they have.
Especially after they messed up that whole all-day breakfast situation, too. So.
Yeah, the breakfast that took all day to get.
Yeah.
I'm still annoyed by that.
And the poor people who work there are really hating it.
Oh, she went for the bank statement? Oh, no, Nelson!
Yeah, I'm going to lose.
Good, because I'm rooting for Sasha Banks.
You son of a...
I don't like Paige.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Pasty white Brit.
Boy.
Root for the American.
There ain't nothing wrong with the pasty white Brit.
But moving on, so we all saw the Star Wars trailer, right? Mm-hmm. Am I the only one here not excited for The Last Jedi?
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Because I'm more indifferent.
I've said it on the podcast before. Disney's really watered down Star Wars for me. Not necessarily in quality, though. You know, The Force Awakens was basically A New Hope rehashed. It was still a good movie, but it doesn't feel special. With a new Star Wars every year,
Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't feel...
trying to make as much money out of
I know,
it.
I get why they're doing it. Like, I don't fault them for it. They paid $4 billion for it.
It's nostalgia because it's got the originals.
Yeah, but the fact that they're doing Rogue One was alright. Like, these anthology movies, if they came out every so often, that'd be fine. Yeah. But them doing like an anthology movie, then a saga movie, then an anthology movie, then a saga movie.
It's following along the lines of Marvel because they've been cranking out one in
but
new phases.
Star Wars, they're doing. And the difference between the Star Wars and like the Marvel franchise is Disney in Star Wars, they're doing it for us. They're targeting millennials. They want us to be like, because we grew up on Star Wars, and we obviously weren't alive when it first came out into the movie theaters, and they want to give us that
I was alive
experience.
when Jedi came out.
Were you old enough to actually like really be able to appreciate it?
I was 5 months old. But
exactly.
But yeah, you're right. They're doing it for
millennials.
And the Marvel thing was like a happy accident because if you look at the original, like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, they were only spending like they weren't spending like millions and millions of dollars making those films. Those were like bargain basement summer blockbusters. I think like 50 million, something like that. They weren't spending a lot of money on Iron Man.
Yeah, they cut the budget on Iron Man a bunch of times. So. Yeah. Which was why.
So that was a real happy accident that those. There you go. You better not lose with Alexa. But yeah, those were like a happy accident, and because they're comic book films and you get comic books every month, so getting like 3 Marvel movies a year. I knew you were gonna do that, you stupid dog. God.
Napkins.
Oh, there's paper towels in my bathroom, or he's gonna go over there or something.
That's why I have dark carpeting.
Sorry about that.
That's not your fault. It's the stupid dog's fault. I knew she was going to do that.
She has done that like.
But yeah, twice. I mean, like, and everyone's like, and now I see the new theory because Luke's in the background of the poster, and every other poster's had the villain in the background. They're like, Luke's in that. It's like Luke's not going to be the villain. Though some of the theories, I like the idea of Rey becoming the bad guy and Kylo becoming the good guy. I like that theory.
I think that the ending of that trailer was misleading. Being a film dork, you can tell that the lighting is different on Kylo than it is on Rey. And it could just be that they lit it weird, which is entirely possible. But I think that it's two separate scenes that they spliced together to make it look like.
Well, I also think the scene where Kylo's flying the jet and you see Leia, I think those are two separate scenes too.
Yeah.
Because we've already been told Leia's supposedly in the next movie.
Yeah.
So obviously Kylo's not going to kill her. I think Rian Johnson also helped it out. He's like, oh, if you don't want spoilers, don't watch the trailer. No director ever has said that, and we've seen some spoiler trailers, a.k.a. every DC trailer. So it's one of those things like Rian Johnson's in on it's like, don't watch the trailer if you want spoilers. So I think everything in that trailer is a misdirect. I don't think there's anything in there that's really giving away plot because Disney's smarter than that. Because if you look at most of the Marvel trailers, there's almost no third act in any Marvel trailer.
Yeah, they don't include any of that stuff. And I mean, I think I'm almost a little bit mad at you guys because I made it a point not to watch the Star Wars trailer. I actually watched it before I came over here because I don't want anything in my head before I go in to see the movie. And so, I mean, I saw the first one that came out like months ago. Yeah. And that one was interesting and I was okay with that. And I was really not, unfortunately, very impressed by this particular trailer. I thought it was kind of like, so, but I wasn't going to watch it, except we were going to talk about it.
Oh man, Steph's going to lose her shit in the chat again.
I cut, like, movies I'm going to see, I cut off at a certain point. Like, we're a month out from Thor Ragnarok. I'm not watching anything on the show. I know. Yeah. I can't wait to see that.
What? Well, you're not excited about the Revengers?
Well, I follow Hemsworth and Ruffalo on Instagram, and they keep posting all and taking.
I haven't seen it. I mean, I saw the thing about Mark Ruffalo, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch that. Right
oh my gosh! And apparently he was trying to dress like Robert Downey Jr. Ruffalo was in the movie. I saw an interview with him, and he said that he saw all of Downey's shirts, and so he got his own like Duran Duran shirt to wear and all this other different stuff. So he cracks me up.
And he even tried to do like a live thing of the beginning of the movie or like, during the premiere.
Yeah, he accidentally like left his like Instagram or something like that and streamed like the first like 10 minutes of the movie.
He's gotten into trouble a couple times now. They were doing a big old Marvel photo shoot and then like
I saw that one. He's like, am I not supposed to do this? Am I not supposed to do this?
And
I think I just got in trouble.
Like, dude, what are you doing, motherfucker?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he was live streaming on what, Snapchat or Instagram?
Yeah, he was on Instagram and he was doing Snapchat too. But
I remember he did that during
wasn't Haley Atwell there too?
Yeah.
He accidentally screwed up during Age of Ultron, like he like posted some Instagram pictures and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, it's funny because Tom Holland and Sebastian Stan keep getting into trouble. Like, they won't show the entire script to Tom Holland because he's spilled information.
He doesn't shut up. He's a stupid teenager.
He's a kid, and he's really excited. I can't say I blame him, but Sebastian Stan should know better.
Yeah.
But it just and Fluffalo was really excited too. So it's and so it's pretty entertaining that like the three of them keep spilling so many secrets that Marvel's like, all right, you know what, you guys, somebody needs to take your social media away. Yeah. But the fans would be really pissed off if that were to happen.
Yeah.
Well, see, I don't follow a lot of them on purpose just to not get spoilers.
Well, I don't think any of the stuff that they've posted about Ragnarok has been spoilery. Most of it's just like the spirit of it and how funny it is. I'm really like, I just kind of want to like high five Taika Waititi and be like, thank you for bringing your sense of humor into this because
which will be interesting to see how he does Akira if he does do that movie.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that he was.
Yeah, because we talked about that in the last podcast, and then I saw more stuff about it this week.
They're trying to do that.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to make another Akira. I mean, didn't they learn from Ghost in the Shell? Come on, please.
Well, the last time there was a script for it was god awful.
I bet. I mean, the original movie itself only really worked because it came out quite a while ago, and people didn't necessarily sit there and go, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. And a lot of people probably hadn't read the manga before they saw the movie anyways, at least in the States. I'm sure in Japan they read the manga first. But it's also one of those things, it's kind of like when you can almost... I don't even call it an adaptation just because there's already a movie out there. Yes, it's an animated movie, but it's a movie. It's a remake at this point.
Yeah.
And I get the point of some remakes because, like, you look at The Fly or you look at The Thing. Yeah. You got a chance to take a property and adapt it better because you have better technology and film has just become better. but then like remaking Ghostbusters basically. Like, it didn't need to be done. Like, there was no point to do it other than to cash grab it.
Yeah. And so now you can get that movie for free.
That was another millennial aspect. They were just targeting millennials again.
Except they as much as, like, millennials like to say they're liberal, they're very sexist.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
If you, and the problem I have with the remake of the Ghostbusters was they purposely set out, we're going to make it all female. They didn't have a story or anything like that. That's the first thing they said. We need to make it all female. Yeah, it's like if that's the way. Like if they were all the daughters of the Ghostbusters, because that could be a comedic twist in and of itself.
I didn't think they needed it to be a reboot. That was one of my biggest problems with the movie.
Because I mean, if you and not like all the Ghostbusters were masculine or anything like that, with the exception of Venkman. But it would be a kind of a funny twist if they all had daughters and they tried to steer them away, but the daughters took up the mantle, kind of thing like that. That could have been an interesting movie. But no, they were just like, Paul Feig, just do something with Melissa McCarthy. Yeah. And I'm not one of those people who like Paul Feig. I thought Bridesmaids was funny. I didn't think it was this great movie that everybody thought it was. Yeah. But I didn't like Spy, and
I didn't watch it.
He had another movie, I can't think of what it's called.
I thought Spy was pretty... Actually, I like Spy more than I like Bridesmaids. I thought that it was more entertaining, but I think it was just like the ingenuity of Melissa McCarthy's swearing in that was really what made it for me. So.
But I'm just not a Paul Feig fan. But we're getting off topic. Because we got so much to cover. But speaking of trailers that didn't get me excited at all, we all saw the Justice League trailer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The only thing I think I'm going to like in Justice League is the Flash.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's about it.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Aquaman.
No, because he's too much of a bro. And I'm just kind of like... I was like... it doesn't feel regal to me because Aquaman's always been kind of regal in the comic books. He's never been a bro.
Yeah.
And so that they're giving him this bro quality, which I don't know how well it's going to... I think it's going to be too much like comedic relief for it, with the Flash being comedic relief, and then we have this bro dude. Yeah. I really think that's going to be like... They like almost like the opposite of Ghostbusters, where Ghostbusters like we have to be all inclusive. We're gonna steer all to women. That's our inclusivity. All women, no men. And so like we've been too serious, so we're gonna go all comedy now. And it's just like find that happy medium. And then like the symbolism just hits you over the head, like Wonder Woman standing on like a justice statue. It's like, come on. And it's like, Josh, I hope that was in there before Joss Whedon took over, because like, Josh, you're better than that. You might be a misogynist too, apparently. But
actually,
you're a little bit better than that, than the overhanded symbolism right there. Because I mean, like that's just way too heavy-handed right there.
Joss was better than that in the '90s. He's not better than that now.
True. I think his last hurrah was the first Avengers movie, and it seems like everything he's done since then has been a sliding scale of worse. Like I think he's definitely one of those directors who's better when you give him limited resources, and then he has to like take the limited resources and use his imagination. Right. But when you give him unlimited resources, he gets spoiled by it and
lazy.
Yeah, which a lot of directors do.
Yeah, this is very true.
Like Spielberg too. Like some of Spielberg's best movies, like Jaws, one of the greatest movies ever made.
I don't want another advertising very much.
Yeah,
well, that was Cameron.
Oh, wrong one.
Cameron's another guy if you give him too many resources. Because I think Terminator's better than Terminator 2. Because he had limited resources. Yeah. And I also think Alien, though that was not Cameron, that was Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
I think Alien, with its limited resources, is a better movie than Aliens.
Ridley Scott just pisses me off now.
Yeah, maybe just all directors are terrible when you give them unlimited resources.
The earlier movies were better than the ones that are now, because now it's just nostalgia and trying to grab that whole storyline from that bit and then massage it to, you know.
Well, I think also part of it is like with some of these guys like Ridley Scott, George Lucas, J.K. Rowling. When it comes to literature, they hit something really well, and they can't do anything else. Like I called it when J.K. Rowling, after the last Harry Potter book, and she said she was done with the Harry Potter universe. I called it she's going to do something different. It's going to flop, and she's going to be right back to Harry Potter.
I can see it was actually
and that's what she did. Like I know she did something after Harry Potter.
Yeah, she did The Vacancy, and that was she wrote it under a pseudonym.
Yeah, but it didn't hit hard. God damn it! Like Harry Potter did, and she went right back to Harry Potter. Yeah, and that's what a lot of these creatives do. They're afraid to take risks anymore.
True.
Like Ridley Scott, he's gone back to all of his old properties. Thank God he didn't direct Blade Runner 2049, which I haven't seen yet, but I hear is great.
Yeah, I've heard thought it was really
Don't
good.
hate me. I haven't seen the original either, so I need to do.
I have to go back and.
I will say
I
this:
have to go back
the
and rewatch
original,
it.
to me, and I'll get hate for this in the comments, doesn't hold up.
I don't like the original.
It's really
It's
boring.
so rapey.
Yeah, and it's boring.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like watching it, and you're just like, this is really, really boring. Like,
Yeah.
I get for its time. Like, if you watched it back in the 80s when you didn't have a lot to compare it to, it's hard sci-fi. It's very kind of revolutionary for its time.
And its visuals are really awesome.
Yeah.
It's just that there's a lot of issues that they ran into in production.
Charlotte just
Yeah.
screwed me
They
over.
made Harrison Ford do a voiceover
Voice-
throughout the
which
entire
is
movie,
terrible.
and he's so clearly bored doing this
Yeah.
voiceover the entire time that
Spoilers! I haven't watched it.
Well, don't watch that version.
voiceover.
Watch the director's cut. I think
Yeah.
that gets
Okay.
rid of the word.
All
Well,
right.
yeah, because the
Maybe if I
studio
don't have
made
the
him do the
director's
voiceover because they wanted to make it more noir.
yeah.
And but yeah, it's just the original does not hold up. Like
Damn.
at
It
its
hurts to
time,
record. That shit hurts, man.
at
Well, I
its
just got
time,
jumped from behind by
it was
somebody else.
revolutionary.
So I'm.
When it first came
If
out.
I
Yeah,
even
but
make
you
a
go
comment-
back and watch it now, and it's also kind of like a lot of like classic movies like Metropolis. That movie's terrible by today's standards, but it was revolutionary at the time. I've never seen Citizen Kane, but I've heard the same thing about Citizen Kane.
Yeah, it's really, really slow now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you-
So it's just one of those things. It's like
just
for
we're used to watching different stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're terrible, Nelson.
Fuck you! I just got jumped by Charlotte.
You're 0-2 now.
Shut up, dude.
Like our sign said, get your.
I
popcorn
just
ready.
got the game on Friday. I played it once.
Oh, you.
But it's a
birthday.
continuation from a series you've been buying every year for the last 20 years.
So you haven't made your own wrestler yet?
No, I haven't even got a chance to do that yet.
Or it wouldn't even be on this system anyways because we just downloaded his game to mine so we could play it instead of us all cramming into his room.
Which is a horrible mess.
Yeah, makes it easier. So now we switch to the serious part of the podcast, where I may crack a joke or two, but not too many because I'm not going to crack jokes about this. The first thing we're gonna touch on two things first: the Polygon and Screen Junkie sexual harassment, and yes, I say harassment because that sounds more mature.
It's the worst way of saying it.
Yeah,
We're just talking smack about the Brits. And,
Well, harassment just sounds, I don't know, harassment just sounds like you're taking it serious. So this is the lesser side. This is, I don't want to call it lighter side, but
Not quite as serious.
not quite as serious as what we'll get into with Harvey Weinstein and all the shit that's going down in Hollywood. But Andy Signore of Screen Junkies was recently fired this week. I actually heard about this before I heard about the Harvey Weinstein thing, which shows you where my Twitter is.
yeah, because it was, a week after the Weinstein thing.
Yeah. Because Andy Signore, one of the co-creators of Screen Junkies and Honest Trailers, was recently fired for a lot of sexual harassment that he did towards female employees, interns. And I will say that I like Screen Junkies and I like Honest Trailers, but I never liked Andy Signore. And it's not that like, oh, I have this creepy like sexual predator vibe on him. I just didn't think he was funny, and he always annoyed me on what is it, Movie Fights is what that show's called, because he's like the judge on it.
Right.
Like he just always bugged me, like he annoyed me, like so that has nothing to do with what he did, but it's kind of like, to me, I think Screen Junkies will only get better with him gone.
Probably.
But yeah, that was pretty scummy for him, but I'm not surprised only in the fact that I have found with overweight, unattractive nerds, when they get into a position of power, because they've been shunned by women all their life, and this is not an excuse. I don't want anybody to think I'm making an excuse for them. That they hard steer to this, like, now I have power over these women. Like, who cares that they're attractive? I'm their boss, things like that. And that does happen a lot, and it's not an excuse, and it's not even palatable at all. But, like, I don't know where this disconnect comes. That they do this, but you see it a lot. Like, you see it in like movie industry, you see it in video game companies, like anything where like nerds get power, they become obsessed with it, and not necessarily in a sexual way either, but they'll just become assholes in general, just because like they've been mistreated all their life, and instead of like having an understanding of that mistreatment and using their power for good, like Bill Gates does,
They perpetuate it.
Yeah, they perpetuate it. They become bullies themselves, which we kind of talked about the toxicity in video games, where nerds get good at video games and they talk shit to people who aren't as good as them. And I don't know what it is about nerd culture that does, well, not always the case.
Yeah, I mean,
but,
No, I mean,
it's not always the
I
case,
don't really play video games online as much as
well,
I
you're a
used to.
woman, it's different.
That's
like,
the whole problem
yeah.
that I have, is as soon as anybody finds out that I'm a girl, then I get like random 14-year-old boys telling me to go back to the kitchen. And why is it always the kitchen? Like, seriously? I mean,
I can speak that when I was married, my wife was a terrible cook. I did all the cooking.
Yeah.
I would never tell her to go back to the kitchen because that meant something's catching on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that. Or, you always get called all sorts of different names, and they're never really all that original. And so it's just kind of one of those things that after a little while, it got to the point where it was just not even worth it or fun to play online. Because dudes are shitty.
Just the toxicity that we face, like, there's shit talking, so it's like, it's almost never that we are in a game chat at all. Like, when Nelson and I are playing Overwatch and we're playing like Steph and Victor and all them, we're in our own chat.
Yep.
Because we don't even want to deal with the shit talking anymore because it gets out of hand. Because I'll never forget years ago playing Gears of War 2. There was this kid, just so vile, just so disgusting, dropping the N-word and just I finally had enough of it, and I just ripped into him. And I can't remember everything I said, but I ended it with, at night while you're sleeping, your mother is so ashamed of you, she stands above your bed with a pillow ready to smother your ass because she wants that 10th term abortion. And that kid shut up and left the chat at that point. But and Nelson knows I don't really talk back to people most of the time. I just ignore them.
Yeah.
But that's how far this kid pushed me to where he was probably like 12 or 14 that I was just like, you know what? Someone's got to shut him up. I'm going to do it. And that actually kind of happened to me at a baseball game yesterday. So I coached Little League. I don't argue with umpires. If the umpire I feel makes a bad call, I will call timeout. I will discuss it with the umpire. I know it's not going to change their mind, but I do know if I point it out to the umpire, next time a close play like that happens, a lot of times it goes our way. Because the umpire, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I may have screwed them on that call. Next close call is going to go their way to make up for it. Because decent refs and umpires generally have a way of doing that. They'll do make-up calls. So there was this one play, and I definitely had to do it because it was...
Why did that timing not catch? Bullshit.
It was one of our kids who, like, he doesn't hit the ball well. He's not that good of a hitter. And he got a good hit, and he's fast, and he got there just before the ball did. Like, it was a close bang-bang play. So I knew I wasn't going to change the umpire's mind, but I wanted to point it out because I definitely wanted to defend him because he doesn't get on base that much.
Yeah.
And so I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I just said, foot came off the bag. She's like, not from my angle. I was like, maybe not from your angle, but I could clearly see the kid's foot off the bag when he caught the ball.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not arguing with you because I'm not getting thrown out of the game, but I was like, I just want to point that out to you. And the parents for the other team start talking shit to me. I ignored it at first. And then the next batter was my son. He hits a line drive. Kid catches it. And Sean was discussing himself because he went 0 for 3. Both on good hits, though. Like, he just hit it right at people.
Yeah.
And so one of the mothers from the other team yells out, "You going to argue that too?" as I'm walking off the field. And I turn and I stop. And I turn towards their stands. I go, shut your damn mouth because we're volunteers. If you want to do something, get your ass on the field and off your fat ass. And
Josh, I need to point something out to you. Look at the background.
Nice interview going on with AJ. and like all their fans just silence. And their coaches quickly started having a conversation with those parents. Those parents didn't say anything the rest of the game. Because it's one of those things like, I'm not going to really engage with parents like that. But my son just got out, and I have to go deal with him because he's upset. And you want to talk shit about something? Because, like, I didn't argue with the official, period. I pointed out to the official that I felt she made a bad call.
Yeah.
And that was it. And me and the umpire joked about it at the end of the game. Like, her and I had a pleasant conversation because I will never yell. Because, again, they're paid like $25 a game, so it's not like they're paid a lot. Yeah. So it's one of those things, I'm not going to yell at them, and they're one person. They're going to make mistakes. Yeah. But if I feel they made a mistake, I'm going to point it out, so maybe next time it goes our way. And so it's just kind of like, just some people like the toxicity, like even at a little kid's game, it's like, don't yell shit at a coach.
Yeah.
Because it's not like because if I would have screamed and hollered at the umpire, that'd be one thing, because then I'm the asshole. But I calmly called timeout and went and talked to the umpire.
Yeah.
So, and it's just like, man, it's like, and because that team was way worse than us and they were making a comeback.
Oh.
And I was trying to stop the bleeding too. And another thing is like, because we've always pointed out to our kids, like if we feel a bad call's made, don't you say anything. We'll talk to the umpire. And so I'm always going to defend my kids if I felt like a bad call was made against them.
Of course.
Because I want them to know, coaches, we got your back. Like you don't have to do anything. But yeah, it's just like, I couldn't believe that parent. And it was funny too because like one of our parents turned towards my ex-wife and she's like, I can't believe Josh actually, because it was a woman who said it to me, and she like, and my ex was like, oh no, he's equal opportunity. You talk shit to him, he'll talk back. He doesn't care if you're a man or a woman.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny because the boy on the team, his name was Isaiah. His mother thanked me after the game. She's like, "Thank you for going to say something to the umpire," because she gets it. Because Isaiah had never played baseball before, and he played for me in the spring. He's playing for me in the fall, and he's gotten leaps and bounds better.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny when he gets discouraged. Like, Isaiah, you couldn't even put the bat on the ball in the spring. Like, you would just swing and miss. I was like, now you're hitting the ball and you're hitting hard. I was like, dude, you're getting way better every game. So, and that's another one of those things, like, those kids, I definitely want to encourage, because I want them to play baseball more and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, level of toxicity. And you were saying, going back to our topic of sexual harassment, how far we get off to, you were saying something about Polygon, too, which I hadn't heard.
Yeah, one of the content creators for Polygon, Nick Robinson, about a month ago, he was supposed to be helping with the Overwatch devs and posted something about it being delayed, and somebody made some comment about, he wouldn't, be delaying it so much if he was not sliding into every girl in gaming's DMs and all this different stuff. And so it started to come out after that comment was made. A whole bunch of women came out and said, "Oh yeah, he sent me this message and this message and this message." People had screenshots the same way that with Andy. That there were a lot of women who came out and went, "Oh hey, look, I have proof. This is what he said to me, and this is what he sent." And the thing with Robson was that the parent company to Polygon, which I think is. I can't even remember. Sorry about that. But the parent company decided, we're going to go into, I think it's Vox. We're going to go into a investigation and see this through. And then 2 days later, they said, he is terminated from the company immediately. And what I will say about Robson that I haven't seen with either Weinstein or Andy or anybody else, he did come out and said, you know what, I messed up and I can understand now that this was wrong. He said that it's
was he just trying to get dates? Because I know Signor threatened to fire an intern's boyfriend who worked for the company.
Yeah, I saw that. I think he was just trying to get dates. Sometimes he was like, he said that he was being flirty, but then he said that there were a couple cases where he realized that it was actually really harassment and rude. And he was like, I realize now, and I didn't realize before, that I am actually coming from, weirdly enough, a place of power, and that I kind of abused that, and I can see how other people might not really appreciate the way that I approach these things, and I'm going to work on that, and I want to apologize to everybody that I did that to. And I saw that he came out and he said, you know what, I fucked up, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to work on it.
At least he did that.
And, I mean, he's no longer a part of Polygon. He was really well known for... he did a series called Carboys with Griffin McElroy, and it was pretty entertaining. I was very surprised when I saw all this stuff come out. He's just kind of one of those like awkward, geeky guys, and I guess that after you become pretty popular and you have a bunch of people sending you messages and talking about how much they love your work, you get a big head. And then supposedly you start harassing people.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you talk about that, a bunch of people message you kind of thing. It kind of reminds me of a Bill Burr joke where he was talking about the whole Arnold Schwarzenegger cheating scandal and Tiger Woods cheating scandal, and how all these people come out like, how dare they cheat on their wives? But it's like, it's kind of a different thing, because like if you're Arnold or Tiger Woods or even a lower level like writer that's popular, when you have a lot of women saying things to you, it's a temptation. Like, I can easily say as a nobody, I can I can turn down cheating. But if like, let's just hypothetically say we all become movie stars, and I have a steady girlfriend, but then I have like models and shit throwing themselves at me. That's when I can't even say what I do. I'd like to think I'd take the moral high ground and say, no, I'm married, back away. But until you're in the situation, so I get it, like, sucks for the Polygon guy, but when you get a bunch of messages, there is a fine line between flirting and crossing the line, and it sounds like he crossed the line without me actually seeing the messages. Yeah. Definitely Andy Signor crossed the line with threatening to fire people. Yeah. Harvey Weinstein way crossed the line. Yeah,
into full-on assault territory.
Yeah, so on to Harvey Weinstein, and we got a lot to unpack with Harvey Weinstein. Before we go into anything in details, one thing I do want, like, without knowing anybody's political views, I'm more moderate middle. I think of myself more of a libertarian than anything. I don't identify as a Republican or a Democrat. I like to think of myself almost in the middle. I go with ideas based on then parties. Yeah. Like, someone might have a good idea here. I like that. Someone might have a good idea over here on the right. Go with that.
I just
exactly.
They're all idiots.
But what I find so hilariously and just hypocritically is how the left has reacted towards Harvey Weinstein and how they reacted to Donald Trump. And I want to say I don't like Donald Trump. I'm not defending Donald Trump. But Donald Trump's grabbed him by the pussy comment was a comment. A comment that was supposed to be private. Not appropriate in any sense, but it was only a comment. But people like Meryl Streep and Gwyneth Paltrow and Ashley Judd, who were just destroying Trump for a comment, were same people when they got awards thanking Harvey Weinstein. Mm-hmm. And there's no way with what's come out, they didn't at least suspect something. Like so it was just kind of funny how Trump gets killed by all these Hollywood people for a comment.
Also, Trump did more than just a comment. There's been quite a few people who came out and said that he's sexually assaulted.
And those have gone away, which I don't know, without knowing the details. Well, money can be a part of that too. But without knowing all the details, I'm not going to comment on that. But they were killing him for a comment. Like, for the most part, because they brought up the comment. But they knew, but these women and men too, because we have them on the list, we'll talk about them, knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing. It's like, and then thanking him, and Meryl Streep calling him God, which just drove me insane. So we'll unpack the whole thing. So I don't know. It broke with a New York Times story, which I think was also connected with Rose McGowan, because she filed a lawsuit saying she was sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein, which I feel she got underpaid for only $100,000. I was like, someone that rich and that's all you got for a sexual assault hush money? But the big thing about the Rose McGowan tweet, which I think is going to have far ramifications, especially with the Justice League movie, considering one of the people named out in those tweets is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. She said they knew about what he was doing, and they were like silent contributors, basically. And and then a lot of surfs about Ben Affleck, like One Tree Hill star, he groped on the set of TRL. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen this
he
from
came out and apologized, but it was like the most BS apology.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you've seen this video, but like it was with an interview with a Montreal MTV kind of thing.
Bizarre.
Oh, I showed that to Nelson. It is
so weird.
Yeah. And like this, the chick in it. I'm sorry for calling the woman, I should say. Who I don't know her name.
She was 19 at the time.
Jesus, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
And she came out and said, "Oh no, we were just having good fun." And that sounds like somebody. That almost sounds like the Harvey Weinstein thing. Like I'm a nobody. I don't want to say this about a big star because this could affect my career, kind of thing.
Yeah.
She was saying, "Oh no, it was good fun." And if you've seen the video, and you can search it, just like Ben Affleck inappropriate interview.
Yeah.
That's not good fun. That's under.
It was cringeworthy at best.
And from someone who's been to Pornhub, that creeped me out.
That was just so creepy.
Well, as a woman, I can tell you that the moment after he grabs her and she just kind of like laughs it off, that is a feeling that like all women know of, that whole, okay, ha ha, I'm not going to get like angry and shitty with anybody right now because they could actually hurt me. Yeah. And so instead of doing that, I'm just going to laugh and try and get out of here as soon as possible.
Yeah, you can see she's uncomfortable. Safety. I don't care what she's tweeted out about that since it's like resurfaced again.
Yeah.
You can tell in that video she is uncomfortable.
Incredibly, yeah.
And it's just kind of like...
And then even the crew were like, we didn't even see what had happened. We just saw that all of a sudden she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and to me, like with the whole Ben Affleck thing, it's almost ironic because he's become that character that he was in Mallrats.
Oh man, yeah, you're right. He has become.
Oh man, I've never been a big Ben Affleck fan. I think the only time I really liked him was in Good Will Hunting and Nelson. Yeah. He was the bomb in Phantoms. Maybe the best line from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yeah, it's just, oh man, it's just. Ugh.
The thing is, it happens constantly, and somehow it became normal. And I was talking with a couple friends of mine last night about just because I am on several different apps and social media things that I've had the amount of different comments that I've had that I get in private messages or just in comments on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. I've had a dude tell me that I would be so much hotter if I just shut my mouth and showed my tits. I have had somebody create 4 different accounts to call me a whore on like a whole bunch of different stuff.
Oh, Lord.
And we were talking about, I actually have a karaoke app that I love to use, and I was talking with some of the people on there about trolls on that app, which is really weird because it's a karaoke app.
Yeah.
And I've had several different people, send me messages on the karaoke app asking for nudes, and the other woman that I work talking to said that they had the same issues, but they were kind of like, yeah, you just gotta ignore it, just block them, blah blah blah. And I'm like, but that doesn't do anything about it. In the same way that Twitter doesn't have like an adequate system to report harassment and to report these people who give, like, there are so many different like female celebrities or internet celebrities who get death threats, like full on horrible death threats on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Meg Turney gets it constantly.
Really, Meg?
Yes. Meg,
she's like the sweetest girl.
Yes, she is, but she also has big, gorgeous boobs, and like dudes get really, really.
Well, I know, but I can imagine like if she was like controversial, like I don't want to say like it's right to send Anna Sarkeesian death threats, but she's so controversial.
Well, she was controversial. But
yeah, she's so controversial. I can understand where she pisses people off. Yeah. What does Meg do to piss people off? She's
Meg,
so sweet.
She cosplayed as a character and didn't do it correctly in their mind.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm serious.
Jesus.
There's been plenty of different things that, and not only that, but I mean, because she's in a relationship with Gavin Free, there's been quite a few people who have made commentary about that, and she's just kind of like backed off from any kind of reacting to that.
Speaking of Rooster Teeth people, so like Ashley from The Know,
Ashley Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins. Like I couldn't remember her name. She dates Bernie.
Yeah.
And
actually,
Bernie,
I think they're married now. Yeah.
Are they?
Well, they were engaged, but yeah.
Yeah, but like Bernie didn't start dating her till like 6 months after his divorce. But like because like Bernie didn't like announce his divorce, which changed Rooster Teeth policy, which I'll get into. People were sending like DMs and messages to Ashley calling her a homewrecker and a whore when she had nothing to do with his divorce.
Yeah.
And so Bernie then like instituted a policy, hey, if you are in a relationship that is known, when it breaks off, just you don't have to make a big deal about it, but just say something on Twitter. Just so this does, in case you start dating somebody within the because it's one of those things.
Barbara had the same issue. So because she was dating one of the other Rooster Teeth people, and then they split up.
Which actually kind of funny because Bruce was dating Bethany from Rooster Teeth, and I guess they broke up.
They broke up because she actually came out and said she was sexually assaulted by somebody. And
I did see her tweet
caused,
about
like,
that.
a spiral for her.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
Which goes back into all this stuff.
Yeah, because it's kind of funny because I went through both their Twitters because I follow them both. I was like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
I felt bad because they were an adorable couple because like they would like tweet out pictures of them FaceTime because one's in Austin, one's in LA.
Right.
And so it was just kind of adorable, like especially Bruce because he cracks me up.
Yeah.
So I just felt bad. Like I don't like to get involved, and they're not real celebrities, but I don't like to get involved with like celebrity relationships. But they were so funny, and it was just kind of like, oh, that sucks because like. What made me like realize it because like on a podcast they were like joking with Bruce about being on Tinder.
Yeah.
And I was like, did him and Bethany break up?
Yeah.
No.
And then you started like going and looking it up. I think that's kind of one of the
I'm sorry, Josh. I ran out of women wrestlers.
That's okay.
I'm gonna go with freaking. I just saw. Here we go.
Tyler Breeze. Oh, are you gonna be Breezango? You better have Fandango as your manager.
Oh, what? I thought I picked him. Damn it.
That's kind of one of the weird things about the way that like. The media relations aspect is these days, since there's so many, there's the internet celebrity, the YouTube celebrity.
And you kind of want to know, but it's like sometimes you want to give them their privacy because I don't really care that much.
But you also listen to their videos on a daily basis and podcast, and you get to know them.
Funhouse talked about that on the podcast, like how you almost feel like you're friends with them, even though you don't know them, because they do let you in on personal aspects, stuff like that, and we do the same thing here. We're just not as popular. But it's one of those things you do kind of feel like this connection because I joke with Nelson all the time about how much him and James are alike. Yeah. Because I first noticed it when they were on Inside Gaming.
Pretty much the only difference right now is he's married and I'm Asian.
Yeah. Like,
that's pretty much the only difference right now.
Because someone on Inside Gaming's Q&A, someone like, what would be the one thing from The Office you would save? James runs out of camera and comes back with all his Power Rangers toys. I was like, that is fucking Nelson right there. Because if this house caught on fire, I'd see Nelson.
You should grab the Funhouse poster and point out who James is.
And also
say that this
James is also cosplaying as Nelson's favorite Overwatch character, Diva, in the poster.
Yeah, and that poster is done by Kel, who's an absolutely amazing artist and a really sweet human being.
Yeah, so it's one of those things like you want to know more, and it's kind of thing like that. So there's that line cross. But yeah, going back to Bethany's tweet about being sexually assaulted, and I dated a girl who was sexually assaulted. It's a really hard relationship to be in.
Yeah, because they don't feel safe ever again.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. It's like when you get intimate, like, not to go too personal in my intimate life, but there are certain like role play aspects that men and women like to do in the bedroom. And it's kind of like, how do I say this trying to be polite? Some women like it rough, some don't. So it's kind of like as a guy, you don't want to ask these questions. You try to like
Yeah, but there are boundaries.
Yeah, and you don't want to push them, and it's kind of like if you're dating someone who's been sexually assaulted, like, and you know that going into the bedroom, as a guy, it's like you don't know what to do at that point because like people can have PTSD from anything, from any traumatic experience in their life, and so it's kind of like when you know someone's been sexually assaulted, and then that relationship moves to the bedroom. Yeah. You're just like, as a guy, you don't know what to know, and there's pressure on you, and then that creates a conflict. Yeah.
Sweatbands.
Yes.
Oh
and
my God.
Thankfully, me and this girl not working out had nothing to do with that. But there was a great deal of awkwardness early on in the relationship because I didn't want to ever make her feel uncomfortable or unsafe. Right. And I can see where any girl who's been sexually assaulted, being alone with a guy that they've just kind of met, I can see where that can be unnerving. Because I've been with girls that I've been alone with. I've been unnerved by them. Like, I feel like I have to go.
Suddenly realizing why I don't do this.
Wrestling's great.
I mean, I understand the draw for it, and I have a couple friends, including you guys, who are bringing me in on certain aspects of it. But I think more than anything else, I'm just discovering like the people who I really dislike because they're really stupid. I can't remember the guy's name, but
you need to YouTube these two guys, Brzango.
We sent you a message because my buddy Christian was talking about.
That's why my phone keeps going off because Nelson keeps getting achievements. So like the Xbox app on my phone just keeps saying like, "Oh, you got."
Oh, you do have the Xbox app on your phone.
Yeah. Well, no, because I had that random $30 charge, and I had to look that up from work.
Oh yeah.
And I couldn't do it from my work computer because it's blocked.
You should keep that because I just remembered earlier this week that you can input your Xbox codes into the app instead of having to do it on the Xbox.
I know.
Okay.
I've done that. So let's steer back. We kind of went too far. Let's steer back to Harvey Weinstein. So we kind of went over the Rose McGowan suit. And her tweets about Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And just kind of further proof that, like, Hollywood knew what was going on but didn't do anything. You have the Seth MacFarlane.
They had some kind of
you had the Seth MacFarlane joke from the Oscars, where he blatantly called out Harvey Weinstein, and then you had 30 Rock with Tina Fey writing a joke where one of her characters was like, I turned down Harvey Weinstein's sexual advances 3 times. And that's normalized. That's making a joke, but real women are getting assaulted.
Yeah.
And my whole process with this, with the hypocrisy and the turning the blind eye by all these people in Hollywood, is you're complicit with it. You're almost as guilty as Harvey Weinstein.
True.
Because, and also I don't want to like put blame on victims, but like Gwyneth Paltrow, who was attempted sexually assaulted by Harvey Weinstein, and then she thanks him at the Oscars like a couple months later. When you don't report that kind of thing, you're just setting it up for another victim.
This is true. However, you have to remember that when you're in situations where you're sexually assaulted or sexually harassed by somebody who's in a position of power, a lot of the time he was assaulting people who were young girls. Who, first of all, don't know how to deal. They don't have the experience to come into that, and he is turning around and telling them he's going to ruin their entire career, which he really, really can.
Yeah, he can.
And he's going through all these situations that he's threatening these women, and most of the time, unfortunately, when women report being sexually assaulted, a lot of the time they don't get anything from it. They don't get any kind of help from that aspect, and they have to just kind of deal with it. Most of the time you have people call you liars, especially for a person like Harvey Weinstein, who's been in the business as long as he has, and who has like really produced a ton of movies. He's a really well-known name, and a lot of people would be like, oh no, not Harvey, blah blah blah. But clearly, yes, Hollywood knew what was happening-ish. I mean, there's at least some chance of an inclination there, but there's also this aspect that, unfortunately, for a lot of women, it might just not have been worth it, because that's going to follow them around for the rest of their life.
But see, my whole problem with it, though, is like, you got Angelina Jolie. She was harassed by him. Mm-hmm. She never worked for the Weinstein Company again. Paltrow, Ashley Judd, several of these women who've come out and said that. They did several films with it. So that to me, that's almost being complicit, because I get, like, not coming forward because of the pressures and things like that. But going back to work for this person... Because that's different.
He's a producer. They're not working necessarily directly with them, but that production company is huge. They cover, I'm pulling this number out of my ass, but probably 45% of the movie.
I feel like after a certain level, it's probably hard to avoid them. Granted, Angelina Jolie did it.
Yeah, but that's Angie.
Well, I mean,
it's not everybody.
She has the star power to be able to
well, no, she did it when she was young, because like
she was a insanely popular model when she was young.
Yeah,
she was already, and her father's John Voight.
That's true, but that's a rocky relationship too.
Yeah, true. But I mean,
I forget that's her father.
I know.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those things. It's kind of like, I can see both sides of it, but I also feel like the silence is almost condoning it too at the same time.
It's tough because there's more victims that way.
Yeah, exactly, because you're just feeding into it. And it just kind of, I showed Nelson this one.
He doesn't have that facial anymore. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't have that anymore.
I showed Nelson this one clips from this one podcast talking about it beforehand, so he could get all caught up with it because I've been reading about it all week. But it was just kind of.
I have to unplug because it just pisses me off. So
yeah,
much.
Yeah. But it was just kind of like it showed clips of like, I didn't know Obama's daughter was interning for Harvey Weinstein.
Oh man.
And like the Obama's praising him, the Clintons praising him.
That's got to be one thing when he's just doing one of these because I dare you.
Yeah, and it's just kind of funny. Like it was just showing like all these like high-powered politicians praising Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, it's because the Weinsteins donate so
much money to the Democrats. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, and it's just kind of funny how
just like the Kochs donate money to the Republicans all the time. So,
but it's just kind of funny like how a lot of these actors, all they've sent out is a tweet saying how disappointed they are, where like when other things on the other side of the spectrum that they don't agree with, they will like get on videos and stuff like, it's like, come on, Harvey Weinstein's raping people. Like, you can make a video, you can do something more than saying in a tweet, I'm disappointed. It's just kind of like...
Actually, I've only seen, and this is going to sound horrible, but I've only seen men send out the tweets about I'm so disappointed. Like most of the women that I've seen reply and make a comment about it are like really pissed off about it, at least from the celebrity aspect of it. I mean, I don't see it on your list, but I mean, Cara Delevingne came out and talked about the fact that he tried to assault her. And,
see, I didn't see that one. Like, I was like trying to like grab as many as I could remember from all the articles I read.
Oh my God, Aishwarya Rai. Thank you.
We were just talking about it in the car.
Yeah, I can't handle my lips just went but yeah, her manager, apparently he kept trying to get the manager out of the room so that he could be alone with Rai. And she was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
And so after they had 2 meetings with him, she completely cut him off and said that they weren't doing any of that anymore because she could see that there were issues. And that's good that she had a manager that was that savvy and understanding of all that different stuff, but a lot of the time at least from what I've read, the girls who went in and ended up alone in a room with him and stuff like that, just they didn't know better and they were green enough that they ended up there young and without a manager.
Yeah, he's a predator.
Yeah. The thing that really pissed me off though is reading that he was getting like female assistants that he worked with to start out in the room with them so that the person that he was, predating upon was actually feeling comfortable because there was another woman in the room, and then he would get them to leave so that he was alone with that person. And they had like 2 or 3 different assistants, and they talked to several people in the company who said that they knew that this stuff was happening and nobody did anything about it. I think that they only had two women actually go to the police and report the assault, and nothing came out of it for either of them. They basically got hush money, and I think one of them refused the hush money and went through like the whole assault case, but then her whole career ended up like tanking because he started supposedly releasing fake information to tabloids.
And that's the thing that drives me insane is like with the people being silent about it, because like going back to Ashley Judd, she's one of the people who said that Harvey Weinstein sexually harassed her. Her whole big thing during the inauguration weekend, that reading that nasty woman poetry, which actually, politics aside, Ashley Judd should never read slam poetry because she did a terrible reading. But it's like, it's kind of like she's slamming Donald Trump, calling him a sexist, but then she's done all these Weinstein productions and kept silent about it. It's what I can't get past as far like is the hypocrisy that has gone on the entire thing with Hollywood. And it drives me insane because like you had this predator there and someone could have said something. And what I'm mostly disappointed in, Matt Damon. Because I love Matt Damon. I respect Matt Damon. Yeah. And if half of what Rose McGowan is saying is true, he knew just about everything and stayed silent. And to me, it's kind of like Nelson and I had this conversation because Nelson brought up the whole careers thing, and I had to come down to the point of it's like it's a moral compass, and I don't want to say I'm better than everybody, but I have the moral compass of if I'm in Hollywood, my career be damned, I'm going to say something because I can't stand by and watch or know that that's going on and not say anything. And just with all the people who I respect in Hollywood, who were that close to Harvey Weinstein, like Kevin Smith, Damon, Affleck.
Well, Smith isn't exactly a pillar of humanity either.
No,
so.
but I like his work.
Yeah, but he turns out to be like a major asshole to a lot of people who don't deserve it. So.
See, I don't know about that.
I actually hadn't heard about that.
But yeah, it's kind of like, and you can almost kind of see it with Damon and Affleck because of everything Casey Affleck went through last year when he was winning the Oscar and all that stuff came about his sexual harassment. Yeah, and they kind of jumped his
Brie
defense.
Larson is my goddamn hero.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's kind of like knowing that, and you can almost kind of say like, well, growing up, you know, that's Ben's little brother, and there is where moral compasses get blurred is when it is family. And you don't want to believe a family member can do that, but you also it becomes that fine line of water and blood kind of thing like that, where even if your family member's a shithead, you still kind of want to stick up for that shithead. So, but now knowing all of this with like Weinstein and that they probably knew, and I think Rose McGowan even said that like Affleck was kind of a contributor to it.
I haven't read her statement. I did know that she was...
I read a good chunk of her Twitter stuff, and it's pretty damning to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And kudos to her for...
Standing up and saying
Standing up, because she was, I think, the first person to really say anything.
Yeah.
Well, publicly recently, because there's been allegations coming up for years. Like
obviously, like her allegation, the settlement was years ago. And kind of going back to what you're saying, ruined careers, like, when was the last time you saw Rose McGowan in anything?
Yeah.
Death Proof was the last time I saw her in anything.
No, I know.
But not Death Proof.
Doing
Planet Terror. That's what it was.
Yeah, which was ironically Miramax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Weinstein.
Guys, girls have a shelf life in Hollywood.
Well, I know. Yeah, it's kind of like once you hit like 35, you're done.
Yeah, I feel like
until you can hit the older.
Until you play the grandmother.
Yeah, the older.
Until you can play Aunt May.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's
Marissa
been
Tomei.
Doing a couple different things, but it doesn't look like any of it's...
Well, she was writing something
stuff.
for Amazon, and that got shelved with this whole Weinstein thing. Because that was in one of her tweets. She was talking about it. She said Amazon was winning a dirty Oscar or something like that.
Ah.
So...
Fun.
Yeah, it's just... It's all over the place, and
I mean, it's not even just in Hollywood. I listened to a podcast the other day about female, like women in the military, and how there's like 1 in 4 women in the military get sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, the last time that they did a study on it, they discovered that like 86% of those women don't even report the assault.
Yeah.
Because it's, again, just not worth it for them because they get pulled out of basic or whatever troop they're in and everything else. I said troop. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
And I don't, and this is going to sound like I'm disparaging troop when I say this. Let's face it, like, when it comes to enlisted members of the military, they're not the cream of the crop of people. Usually those are people who got their GED, flunked out of high school, and couldn't go to college, and that's their only resort.
Not to say
and
not
all those
all
people are bad people,
Yeah.
but when you have a lot of those people signing up for the military, a lot of them are going to be not great people, and that we live close to a bunch of military bases. I've met a lot of those not great military people.
I have as well, and I used to live down in Norfolk, and Norfolk, Virginia is one of the major Navy bases, and there's a lot of guys who, sailors who are on shore leave, who are just there to try and find a lady for the evening. And,
speaking of that, I know somebody, she used to be a female cop in Norfolk, and she would be on those hooker busts. They pulled in a lot of sailors.
Yeah. I've also seen, there's a lot of talk about the Navy wives who, when their husbands are out and not around, they're kind of trolling through Norfolk too. So, and why would you troll through Norfolk?
That's just military families in general, because in our generation, like when we were graduating high school and stuff like that, that's when 9/11 happened.
There were a lot of people
and so a lot of people go off to war, and that kind of creates like getting married young. Like my sister got married to a Marine. They were not even 21 yet. I can't remember exactly how old they were because it was so long ago, but I know they couldn't legally drink at their own wedding.
Boy, oh boy.
So it was one of those things.
Been like around 20 because we were definitely over.
Oh, we were in college. We were drinking at the wedding. Yeah. So yeah, it creates a lot of young marriages, and those young people, when they're away from each other for months and months at a time because of deployment and things like that, they wander, and so that's why you see, and it's kind of funny. Like,
it's not the case for everybody, but yeah.
No, but it's kind of one of those things. Like when I have friends, like male and female, like either in the military or married in the military, it's like, you might want to think about that. Mm-hmm. It's like, because I get it, they're going off to war. You want to get married, but you're 20, they're 23. You're not that old. And getting married young is always a problem.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Where's the water?
Another chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's his thing. He's a crazy Japanese wrestler.
He's just really weird, but he's...
Gee, I couldn't tell.
Needless to say, he's one of Nelson's favorites. I don't know if it's because he's weird or because he's Asian. Or because he's both.
It's probably both. That and plus, every time he strikes someone, I'm like, oh my god, that looks like it hurts. Of course, I'm talking about his New Japan stuff, not his WWE stuff.
Yeah.
His WWE stuff is watered down.
Yeah, I mean...
I think we're all in agreement. Andy Signor, the guy from Polygon, Harvey Weinstein, not good people.
No.
Especially Signor and Weinstein, because they took it a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Which...
A little bit? Yeah, a lot.
I never get, like, the whole sliding into DM things. I don't know. That just always weirds me when I hear about people doing that.
Yeah, I think maybe we're a little too old for that.
Maybe.
So that's why
we're not necessarily too old because I hear about actors doing it and athletes doing it. People around our age.
I remember when Affleck did that to somebody on Instagram.
Not Ben Affleck. He's a pillar of the community.
No way. And him and
he's gonna go save Martha.
James Franco was doing that to like some 16-year-old girl on Instagram too.
Oh.
So.
I remember Franco doing about that because she released pictures and shit like that.
Oh, I do remember that one too.
I remember about Franco. Yeah, it's just kind of like...
These things just like... unfortunately, and it shouldn't be normalized. And I know that yesterday, because we're recording this on Sunday, yesterday the Oscars commission voted to remove Weinstein from the commission, and then they released a statement saying that it's become normal and it shouldn't be, and we don't need to normalize this situation. Unfortunately speaking, as somebody who's been going through this my entire damn life, as somebody who was getting catcalled walking down the street at 12 years old, this is going to continue to happen, unfortunately. And all this stuff is not going to make any
caught,
difference.
and I mean, it's probably going to come out sooner or later. More producers, like, it's going to be... What the good thing about this coming out now is hopefully it empowers more of these women to come forward. Not necessarily just about Weinstein, but I guarantee you he's not the only one doing it.
No.
What I did find,
old joke in Hollywood since like the 30s.
It's an actual trope, like
the casting couch.
Yeah, the casting couch. Yeah. You have caricatures of producers, scummy producers doing all.
Well, it's kind of funny. So. Former adult film star Diana Prince tweeted out, she's like, "Oh, that's why I chose porn over Hollywood, because at least they're up front about it." That just kind of made me laugh.
There's all these different allegations of the amount of like assault and stuff that happened in porn too. So I mean, she's not exactly right there because what's the guy's James Dean? Yeah,
he's an aggressive douchebag. Yeah, I've heard about that.
He's like raped several different adult film stars, and then says that it's not rape because they're porn stars.
James Dean.
Yes.
I did not know that.
I only know that because of what Story's addressing. What Tori's addressing.
We'll just call her Story from now on.
Because granted, I'm not beyond watching porn, but I at least like to. I at least take some solace and pride in knowing that I only know a couple names.
Yeah.
Like I'm not that delved into, like, if you name off any random porn stuff, like, oh, I know who that is.
I only really know the ones from like the early 2000s. There's so many now that I'm just kind of like, I don't know. As long as it's Sasha Grey, that's who I know.
Yeah, see, I know Sasha Grey. Yeah. I know Diana Prince.
I don't know Diana Prince, but I do know Dean, and that's about it.
Well, I know that one because I found her. The first time I discovered who she was, I was actually Google searching something about Wonder Woman, and because she's a big nerd, so that's why her porn name is Diana Prince because of Wonder Woman. Yeah. Okay. And that's how I accidentally found who she was. Like, this was years ago.
Well, I'm sure that really helps all the nerdy guys too. They're just like really into it.
Diana Prince.
Well, no, because she does a lot of like cosplaying. Well, she doesn't do porn anymore, but when she did porn, she did a lot of cosplaying porn in superhero costumes.
Yeah.
There's also a porn star named April O'Neil too.
Yes, I know her too. She actually
April O'Neil.
Oh, she did a Ninja Turtles porn parody.
Oh my god, I didn't know that.
I don't recommend that.
When I have masks. Did they have masks?
No.
Curiosity got the better of me, and I had to look that one up.
It's like Lord of the G-Strings. Curiosity got the better of me on that one, too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Oh, no. I guarantee you whatever you watched was way better than what I watched. Because Curiosity did get better. I was like, I don't want to.
It's like, no.
Yeah. It's horrifying, especially if it's like something like The Simpsons, because I've seen a clip of that.
Why do people do that?
It was creepy because there was a lot of yellow body paint.
Because the thing with the Ninja Turtles thing,
Avatar stuff keeps happening.
The Ninja Turtles thing that I watched, I didn't sit through the whole 30 minutes. I just kind of fast forward to get the highlights. Yeah, I was just like, okay, what's going on in this? We got to fast forward to that.
Jesus Christ! Then now the pizza comes out. Okay.
Oh my God! It was one of those things.
Splinter here.
But so we're gonna end this on a lot. Well, not necessarily a lighter note because it's not very good for the video game industry. So lately, with all the new releases, we're going to turn this back to more of a nerdy thing. This is our Thoughtable for the week.
Get back to our...
Because I don't know how often you guys watch the podcast all the way through. I like to end the podcast on a question I'm going to ask the panel. So the Thoughtable this week with Forza 7, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Shadow of Mordor, or Shadow of War coming out with all these loot boxes. And definitely with Battlefront 2, it's pay to win. And Shadow of War, apparently to see the true ending, you really got to buy the loot boxes because grinding it out apparently is a pain in the ass. Loot boxes, the USRB has recently said it is not a form of gambling, but you have pundits like Jim Sterling who says, no, it is gambling. It triggers the same aspect in the brain gambling does because you're putting down real world money
it's just like
for a random chance to get something.
Yeah, it's actually playing. It's like playing slots.
Yeah,
it's just like playing slots.
And Nelson and I have kind of given in the past
it's
Overwatch.
Like you're guaranteed to win something.
Yeah, we've kind of, that's what the USRB said. You're guaranteed to get something for this, even if it is a duplicate. You're guaranteed to get something, so it's not gambling. But I kind of
USRB is making money off of these.
Yeah,
people, so
I kind of side with Jim Sterling when I feel it's a form of gambling. To me, it doesn't push me to want to buy loot boxes, because playing Overwatch, for me, that's something to strive to. I want to level up because I get a loot boxes with a chance to get skins, spray, stuff like that. Nothing that helps.
More fun,
nothing that helps me to win, but it keeps me playing. But I've never had this, even in the Halloween thing where you get the cool limited edition skins. I have not had an impulse to buy anything.
Oh, I have. But I haven't. But yeah. After I saw the
once I thought about it, I looked at it.
There's your cosplay.
Yeah, there's my cosplay.
Yeah. So
yeah, after I saw the Farah skin, I was just kind of like, oh, and Mercy.
Yeah, I do want the Mercy Witch skin. I think that's really cool.
I don't even play as healer, but I love it.
I've actually gotten really good with Mercy.
Yeah.
When we're doing competitive and no one's picking a heal, I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah, like the two people that I never saw you getting good with are Farah and Mercy, and you've done that.
Yeah.
It's because I just don't think that there's much interest.
Well, me getting good with Farah, I can thank Adam Kovic for using Farah constantly on Overwatch. And I literally just watched and was like, that's how you use Farah.
Exactly.
And so I got really good with Farah.
Yeah.
But so
I have my own way of using.
With that saying, especially with Forza 7 apparently has changed their loot boxes a little bit with fan outcry. Because I haven't bought Forza 7 yet. I'm going to wait for Black Friday on that one.
Yeah.
I haven't really experienced those. But definitely with Shadow of War and Battlefront, it's become apparent that loot boxes aren't going away. And so do you feel they're a form of gambling? Because let's say you and I both buy Battlefront 2 to play, and we're playing PvP. I spend the money on loot boxes, I get a lot of good weapons. And you just are grinding out for loot boxes. Obviously, I have the advantage there.
True, but do they balance it so that when you have the advantage in weapons and everything else, you end up in a server with people who
No.
okay, well then fuck.
Yeah, there's no competitive balance like where with Overwatch, you're playing with people around your same rank.
Yeah.
And your weapons don't matter to your rank, mind you.
Yeah.
It's not a ranking system you get cards and cards you use to get weapons. So it's not like something like Overwatch where you're ranking up and things like that. So it's kind of to me, I do agree with Jim that it's a form of gambling. It's not necessarily like casino gambling where I have a chance to lose all my money and get nothing. Right. But at the same time, I'm losing my money and getting nothing because I get no real world equivalent when I buy these loot boxes. And with Overwatch and with anything else, you can get doubles. And doubles in Overwatch suck. Because you get 50 in-game currency when you get a double.
I mean, at least they give you currency instead of just making you have that thing.
And I probably would be less opposed to it if I could trade things. Like if I got like a double skin, instead of getting the currency, I could like trade the skin to Nelson.
Yeah.
Because like he doesn't use Zenyatta, so him having the Cthulhu skin means nothing to him other than he has a cool skin.
Yep.
I use Zenyatta.
Like I kind of want to start giving Zenyatta now because now at least that way I'll add a healer to my repertoire because I don't have a healer for my repertoire.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I feel it's a form of gambling. It might not necessarily be as bad as, like, going to a casino.
Yeah.
But I still feel like people who have these addictive personalities who get suckered into it can spend a ton of money trying to get, like, that one skin, and they have no guarantee of it. Like, I would have less of a problem if I could just buy that skin with real world money. Like, if Blizzard was like, Blizzard was like, you know what,
like the good old days.
You could pay $5 DLC to get this skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd have less of a problem with it. But the fact that I'd have to pay real world money for a chance to get that skin, that's where it's gambling to me.
Yeah, this is why I play GTA because I mean you can buy money in game,
but you buy what you want.
Money. Yeah, but you're spending money to get money in game instead of spending 16 hours playing the game to make $3 million or whatever. So then you can turn around and buy whatever you want.
Yeah, you want to get that yacht, you can buy that yacht. You're not buying a loot box.
Biggest waste of money. Don't buy the yacht. Don't buy the yacht. I can tell you, one of my friends bought it and he's like, no, it's the biggest waste of money.
Yeah, but you're buying it and you get it. Yeah. Whereas you're not buying a loot box where you get the yacht, you get a car, you get a house, you get the yacht.
Exactly. So you can buy exactly what you want. It's harder for my commentary on this because I don't really like to grind on games. So I hate that aspect of it.
Well, actually, that's
so you were never a big JRPG fan.
That's a good counter argument.
Fantasy, but that was about it. So, but I mean, I wouldn't buy loot boxes either. I think that probably the only game that I would consider buying a loot box is Overwatch. That's about it. So I mean, it's harder for me because I don't necessarily have the same amount of necessary commentary on this one because I don't really play those particular games. But I'm with you that I don't necessarily know that I think that they're gambling. But it's really shitty to set up a system to make some people, if they have more money, be able to get way better weapons than you, and then you put them on the same damn server.
Yeah.
Like, just balance the servers, and then maybe it won't be a problem.
Yeah, but I think that also, like, not balancing the servers intrigues people to buy the gear, too, because, like, hey, I can buy this and have an immediate advantage over people.
No, Ziggler.
And it also and what sucks is it's becoming normal in the video game culture. Like Shadow of War should not have loot boxes at all.
No.
Nothing
Did
about.
Did they do that with Metal Gear Solid too? Like the most recent one, they had like.
Phantom Pain.
But
that's the new one, yeah.
Oh hey, somebody found.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
But yeah, didn't they have like a buyable situation?
I think in the multiplayer you could buy stuff for your base. I never really did the multiplayer because the multiplayer of Metal Gear never intrigued me. I don't recall anything like that in the actual
Samoa
game.
Joe, he's getting the fucking briefcase. Come on.
Push.
So that's one of those things that I can't say for a fact because I never really did the multiplayer aspect of it. But I know you could buy things for your bases. I don't know if it was like a loot box or if you just buy stuff. But it's becoming more and more normalized because Shadow of War, there's nothing in that game to where loot boxes should be a factor for it. He's all alone in there.
Yeah, and Joe is still kicking my ass.
That's because Joe doesn't like you.
Yeah, well, I was kicking his ass earlier.
And Forza, like what Forza got in trouble for with the fans were, like you could modify your races to make them harder, and you'd earn more in-game currency that way. Okay. Well, part of the loot box system is you'd have to earn those modifiers. So you couldn't just modify the game that you wanted to.
So, every now and then you just read a headline that just makes you go, This one says, Apple angry at Capcom over Smurf Village app purchases. That was back in 2011. But
I was like, huh?
All right.
Yeah, there's a commentary about in the same aspect with Destiny 2 as well.
Oh yeah, with the brights.
Yeah, and the pay-to-win aspects and things like that. So, I'm not a Destiny fan.
Luckily for Destiny fans, is like the weapons you would get in the loot boxes are kind of shitty weapons that you would earn just as easily. So that is not as bad as what EA is doing.
Well, they only recently changed that.
Yeah,
like,
and I think
before they came out.
And I think what EA did has overshadowed anything Destiny did. Yeah.
EA was always gonna try and screw over their.
Yeah, because what EA is doing also with like Madden, like I didn't buy Madden, but I have EA access, which I actually like for $30 for a year. You get a ton of free games.
Dolph, you need to do something other than that.
He's hitting him in his fat ass.
There you go.
But yeah, like with Madden and like FIFA, like all the different stuff you can buy and add on, and then 2K Games, who makes this, you got like 3 different tiers you can buy, and but what they did.
You're screwed. I think he's gonna get it.
But apparently, what like 2K Games did with
now we're both gonna die.
The NBA game is
Oh, I missed the first step on that. Fuck.
Well, you're not pushing the ladder, so you don't need to know.
Alright. And there we all go.
So Nelson, what's your thought on loot boxes? They a form of gambling in your mind?
I think it's very similar after I thought of the slot machine analogy.
Yeah.
Like when I think about it, yeah, it kind of is like some games more than others.
Yeah.
Like it's not it's kind of like it's kind of like slot machines in my mind.
It's more
now.
like one of those quarter things at like the
Chico?
grocery store. No. I mean, where you.
You mean the little
the blister packs of something. And
now they're like $1 for those.
Oh my god!
my childhood.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
It makes me feel old.
It's
Yeah,
inflation.
my childhood.
And like I said, like with things like Overwatch, and granted, I'm a big Overwatch fan, so there's might be a little bit bias in there, but it's nothing but skins.
Yeah.
And I've kind of said to Nelson, like, I would prefer like some of those like exclusive skins that you can only get during certain times of the season. Like 6 months later, they'd let you just buy them.
I really wish
that'd be nice.
the anniversary skin.
But at the same time, like it's just something that keeps me playing, keeps me grinding. Because I'm gonna play Overwatch regardless, because I enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a year and a half going on, and I still play it.
Yeah.
Nelson and I are probably gonna play it after you guys leave. But it's one of those things like that's a cool reward I get every time I level up.
Yeah.
Which also sucks is I've prestige, so leveling up's harder now. So for me trying to earn those Halloween skins, it's a pain in the dick. Where I know my son who just started playing Overwatch, he's like level 28. He's probably gonna get them all because he like almost every time we win a match, he levels up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which also kind of makes me laugh because like we always try to get Stephanie to play with us, and
the
constantly like,
I was gonna hit him with my special as soon as he set that ladder up.
I was nervous about buying Sean Overwatch because I didn't want him to like get discouraged, like getting beat.
And get frustrated.
His first game, he hopped in there, he got 28 kills with Soldier 76. I was
Nice.
Like, he like did better than me and Nelson.
Soldier 76's Halloween costume is pretty awesome.
I kind of like what's his face's dude with the 2 pistols.
McCree.
No, not McCree.
Oh, Reaper.
Reaper, yeah. Because Reaper's like the Dracula, and McCree's Van Helsing.
Yeah, and Van Helsing looks really cool. Actually, I was on there yesterday just going through all of the different skins, and apparently I missed like a lot of the winter ones, and like Reinhardt's winter one is like seriously cool. And
is it the Cold Heart one?
Yeah.
That one's badass.
Yeah. But it's interesting because some of the Halloween costumes this time around are really awesome, and some of them are kind of shitty.
Lame.
Like Torbjorn's is like boring.
Yeah.
At least I don't
Who's
play as him.
Torbjorn's is there? I play as him when we're defending in certain
I just
certain
know that it was
maps.
bad. Yeah, I mean, there's some really most of the girl ones are really good, but a lot of the
Shocker.
are kind of boring. Yeah, I know.
I don't even think Diva has one. I haven't seen it. Have you?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like I've only gotten legendary costumes of like the regular legendary costumes. I haven't gotten any because it seems like when they do the special costumes, the special skins, Nelson and I aren't playing that much. It's like Halloween this year. Like there's no other games really that we're playing that much. Mostly because I didn't buy WWE this year. I bought it for my son. Because like WWE's been like kind of a waste of money for me because I'll play it like when it first comes out and then I don't touch it anymore. But last year's though happened when I transferred all my data over to the new Xbox. It screwed up my save file, so everything I had earned, it just became discouraging because I'd earned so much. I was just like, it's like that's disheartening because I lost everything.
There we go.
So.
Apparently they changed how to put that in the freaking ring. Damn it. They changed buttons.
And Anna is a pirate with weapons.
So on that note, though, we're gonna say goodnight, Tokyo. So that's where we get our views
from.
See you,
London.
Actually, here, Josh, I'm gonna turn all this stuff off. You play. Your Shinsuke.
Yeah, May has a tennis shoes